Hello, welcome. My name is Roland. I want to read something to you from A Guide to True Peace Revisited. Beautiful little book, a compilation of writings from Madame Jeanne Guyon, François Fénelon, and Miguel de Molinos, three mystics, three spiritual writers who wrote in the 1600s. The writer is talking about true prayer, the prayer of silence, the prayer of stillness. Okay? Listen to what this writer has to say. A lively sense of the presence of God will extricate us speedily from numberless mental wanderings, remove us from extreme objects, and bring us nigh unto our God, which is to be found in our innermost being, which is the temple wherein he dwells. And when we are thus fully turned inward and warmly penetrated with a sense of his presence, we should in silence and repose with reverence, confidence, and love suffer the blessed food of which we have tasted to sink deep into the soul. So the writer is talking about living in the presence of God. Now, surprisingly, that's where we should be. As human beings, we should live. We were created to live in the presence of God because we are in his presence anyway. But surprisingly, humans have found a way to be unaware of God, and in a sense to be not in his presence. And how do we do that? Well, the main thing is being pulled into something else, pulled into thought, pulled into imagination, pulled into worry. See, God is where thoughts are not. The imagination is like an alternative reality, which you can get lost in. Watch people watch television. Watch people watch television. And you will see that when the television comes on, all eyes go to the television, and you'll see everyone sitting perfectly still looking at the television. They are in the television. They are pulled into that alternative reality. And to that extent, they have lost themselves. And they have lost a sense of the presence of God while they're lost in that television. See? Well, let's continue reading. So you see what the secret is, and it's very simple. This is not, as the old saying goes, this is not rocket science. Although most rocket scientists won't understand what I'm saying. But some will. Einstein would understand what I'm saying. Albert Einstein. He knew he had intuition. See, when you're not lost in words, see, that's the other thing you can get lost in is words. When you're not lost in words, then you're standing back. See, standing back. So, like I said, this is not rocket science. If you see people who are lost in something, then what's the answer? To snap out. Have you ever been walking by, maybe a friend of yours or your child or someone, and you see them all lost in some kind of worry or something like that? You see they're all pulled into some kind of thoughts. They're lost in those thoughts, the way people get lost in a television program. See? They're lost in it. But you see it, you know, in your heart, you know it's not good for them to be lost in worries and unhappiness, whatever they're lost in. So you try to snap them out. You try to cheer them up. You try to distract them. You try to come up with something to pull them out of their doldrums, to pull them out of whatever they're lost in, don't you? See, a good parent will do that when the child is too caught up, or the parent sees the child is way too caught up with something, so caught up, see, that it's not good. Parent can sense that. So what does the parent do? The parent gently directs the child to something else. See? Changes the subject. Come, Mary, let's go over here and let's see, can you help me feed the cat? The cat is hungry. Let's feed the cat. See, something to change, to pull the child out of being lost in something too lost. See? That's what a good parent does. Well, that's what God wants to do with you, with all of us. He wants to pull us out of being lost in our daydreams, our pipe dreams, our imagination, our worries, our doubts, our fears, living in the past. Not really living, but reliving the past in the unreality of the imagination, or worrying about the future. He wants to pull us out of that. Bring us back to the present, back to His presence. And in the present is where you have your power of discernment, your power of intuition, creativity, your power of insight and reason and understanding and patience are in the present. In the presence. But you're at your weakest. You're at your worst and your weakest when you're lost in thoughts. Every pickpocket knows that. They get on the train and they look around for someone to steal somebody's purse or steal somebody's iPhone or steal something. They look for the person that's totally engrossed in something, totally engrossed in a conversation with someone, or totally engrossed in a iPhone conversation, or totally engrossed in texting or in reading. That's the person they can sneak up on and pick the person's pocket, you see. So now you understand that you want to snap out. Snap out. So, how do you snap out? Well, let me continue reading a bit more from the book, A Guide to True Peace Revisited, which is actually an edition that I edited myself. It's in the public domain, A Guide to True Peace. But I took what was in the public domain and I made a very nice introduction. It's worth it to get this book. I think I only charged $2 on Amazon for the internet version, Kindle version, for the ebook version. It's very good. But anyway, let's read some more of what this author has to say. The prayer of inward silence is the easiest and the most profitable path, because with a simple view or attention to God, the soul becomes like a humble supplicant before its Lord, or as a child that casts itself into the safe bosom of its mother, and is also the most secure because it is abstracted from the operations of the imagination, which is often beguiled into extravagancies and is easily bewildered and deceived, the soul being thus deprived of its peace. See, the writer says this path of this prayer of silence, of this way of this prayer, which I'll talk about more in just a moment, is the safest because the soul is abstracted from the imagination. Now, wasn't that what I was just saying? That when we get pulled into worries, doubts, fears, imagination, pipe dream, fantasies, or pulled into a television program, or pulled into a conversation, the way to come back is to snap out. See, to take a mental step back, to be abstracted from it. See how simple that is? Very simple. And very important. Because remember what I said, the human being was created to live in God's presence. And to benefit from God's presence. See? And to know that God is there. The comfort, the security in that, and the delight in, and then realize in God's light, realize things, understand things, have insights, aha moments, and have patience. Patience which is always there. Okay? Wisdom which is always there. Understanding which is always there. See? In the present, in the bosom of God. So now, what is this prayer of silence? Well, you know what it is. They tell you that you place yourself in the present moment. abstracted from the imagination. And there you are, secure and safe. So how do you do that? You get my meditation, my little meditation, and learn how to sit quietly and not be lost in thoughts. It's very simple. You see how simple it is. It's not a question of trying to control thought, trying to manipulate thought, or change thought, or blank thought. The thoughts are there, they go flowing by. It's like sitting on the bank of a river and the thoughts go flowing by. There's a thought, there's a memory, there's a worry, there's a doubt, there's an image. They go floating by. And you might temporarily get caught up in it, but then you step back, but then you pull back. And so you watch it flow by, like you're the observer, sitting on the bank of a river, watching the river flow by. It's very simple. But once you have that, then it's yours forever. And actually you had that when you were a little child. You actually lived in the present, in the presence, when you were a little child. That's why when you were a little child you saw things and you knew things. See? But alas, as the years went by, you became emotionalized and you got pulled into the world and then you lost it. And now you must get it back. Okay? My name is wrong.